Book 1, Bazur's Plot. Chapter 27, The Beach. We started where Jack had left off yesterday. He was first to check aura and if the object was living, and I was uncursing. Once we had found someone and uncursed it, one of the elves took over and we just went forward. It was like a factory. It felt so much nicer to work like this as a team. It did not feel at all tiring like yesterday. The beach was not feeling huge when we first got here, but if you go to check every rock, twig or tree one by one, checking if they are living, it becomes huge area. And since this was very popular area, Bazur had apparently come here a lot, and there were many creatures to uncurse. Tara and two Qualkins stayed at the camp, which was not far since it was at the edge of the beach, and all the awakens were taken there. Seafarer also stayed behind helping medicate with the elves. After a couple of hours, Tom Elf came to say that it was time for lunch, and we returned with Jack to the fire pit. It was funny feeling to go there since the creatures had tripled. The number of creatures had tripled. We had awakened so many creatures this morning. There were all kinds of creatures now looking a little bit puzzled, sitting in a day bed side by side and sipping fairies' nectar or other medicines. There were creatures from all sizes and shapes. A couple of fairies were there too. Most of the awakens seemed to be kids or teens. Dora saw me looking at the creatures and said, "Just like humans, this is a place where kids love to come, and we used to let them come alone, until we finally realized what Bazur was doing. That is why we wanted with Tara to start here, since these kids and teens have been stuck here the longest for our knowledge." "Makes sense," I replied, and continued. "Is the expectation that we will find other places too that have this much, or will it be more just pairs or individuals?" Tara said, We don't think other places will have this much cursed ones. They will be all over and just few at the time. But honestly, we don't know anything for sure. We have little information here and there, but from the beginning we had no witnesses, and that's why Bazur has been doing this so long. Since Tara was out of the game and Tora had taken over arranging the transport home. Morberns had just returned, all from different directions, but now they were paired with each one capritor. Tycho was just coming back with Arnor Elder the elf, to dropping few elf species into the tunnels to be passed to their homes. Tycho said, "I had to call 10 more capritors to help to scout, so we could also do scouting for these transport crews. Not that they mind. There were more coming, but we are trying not to draw attention. I agreed with our herd that we will switch up, so all the volunteers will get their turn, and it will help with the resting too. Everyone is excited to help since we are getting our tribe members back. We have lost a few capritors. They will be in the woods though, not in the open place like this." Everyone sat down to eat lunch. Everyone remembered what happened to me and Jack yesterday when we did not eat early enough. So everyone stopped to eat and make sure we would be in good energy to do our jobs in a mission. I saw there were about 10 more awakened ones recovering and waiting for transport. I saw Flickfin Gulkins also stretching their wings now and taking a small flight above to test if they were feeling good. They landed by Iliana and said, "Yes, we can do fairy transport. Do you happen to have some medicine to strengthen us and help us a bit?" Iliana smiled. "You came to the right place and gave something to their beaks that looked like a nut." Fairies got loaded on their backs and they took off flying along the river. I asked Tora, "Why do they go that way? Aren't they supposed to go to north?" Tora replied, "Yes, but it is more natural for Flickfin Gulking to be seen over the water. So even if Bazur would see them flying, he would not pay attention to them." It made sense, really. Lunch was quickly over, and Jack and I started to walk back to almost to the other end of the beach. Tom and Tim called out that they would be just behind us once they would get one helping capritor with them, who would help to carry back to the camp larger creatures. We nodded and continued to walk. I asked Jack, "So, should I do the aura and living check and you do the awaken spell?" Jack replied, "Yes, that works." We heard chatter about which moorbairn and a capritor pair would go to which area, and then all went silent. I glanced back and barely saw the behinds of moorbairns when they skidded to all different directions, carrying on their backs the awakened, still recovering and slightly stunned passengers. I looked at Jack. "How are you feeling today? Is this tiring to you still, or are you doing better?" Jack looked back at me. "No, this is a better way than yesterday. I also think I'm starting to adapt to this different energy. It just feels different. I am tired, but I'm not tired. Bizarre feeling. But no, I'm not drained like yesterday. I was totally nagged yesterday. What about you, Sarah?" I replied, "I feel much better. Also, I don't know if working together is part of it. I feel that I'm not alone and therefore I feel stronger. I don't know. Anyway, I don't feel any different than waking up this morning. My energy is well preserved today. I still feel that we have managed to uncurse many creatures and improve our skills." Jack nodded. "Yes, I feel the same. I feel the skills are getting better and easier to do. Like they don't take so much effort or energy anymore." I replied, "Agree," and continued, "Where did you left off?" Jack pointed a rock. "That one I felt is normal rock. Check that one still, since it was the last one, and then that tree over there would be next." I went to check the last rock. The beach was ending into huge caves on this side. It seemed reasonable to check them too. Since if the creatures were trying to get away from Bazur, they might have tried to hide into the caves. They did not seem to be deep caves, but just more giving cover from rain and such. Even though they were still areas to cover in this beach, it did not feel overwhelming today. I looked around me. The last rock was just a rock. So I guess I will go then and start first of the 3 caves. Caves were so close to the river that there were no more trees, but only different sizes rocks and sands. I walked there and started checking. There were quite many living ones just inside the cave. Thankfully, they were made of enough big rocks that the river, when flooding, didn't wash them away. I checked the last rock in the cave and sight. I saw Elindra behind me with a jug of fairy nectar and a sandwich. I saw Jack sitting on a real rock eating his sandwich just behind her. "Ah, Elindra, thank you. I was getting a little off." I sat happily on the last rock just behind and that I was checking and munched away my sandwich. Elindra asked. I asked from Elindra, how are things at the camp? We seem to have a lot of awakened ones in this beach. Elindra replied, yes, it was expected, but I think everyone is still surprised how many. You have awakened so many here who we really actually thought were caught elsewhere. So based on really where they were last seen or where they said they were going. So we are happy even though this is a little exhausting right now. I saw her tired face while eating her own sandwich. Elindra, please take care of yourself too. She replied, yes, this beach is done soon. I will go home then, but there's always medical elves with you. We will just rotate. Oh, and before you ask, Tara is better. She insisted on cooking dinner with Tora, so they are prepping it now. I nodded. Great. Super happy about that. Jack, shall we try to finish these 2 caves today? Would you mind swapping the task? I feel this checking is draining me more than uncursing. Jack lifted his head up. No, not at all. Actually, I like the checking part much more than the uncursing. We both smiled and got up. 2 Capritors just arrived galloping to see if any transport was there. I said, a moment, I'm sure there is a need to transport. The first cave already had many creatures. Capritors nodded. Elindra offered food for Capritors. I'm baffled. Food seemed to appear from the thin air here. Elindra gave to Capritors also 2 huge jugs of nectar and said, eat a snack while you're waiting. They looked happy.